There's an old song, "Oh, my papa, to me he was so wonderful. Oh, my papa." I think of that song as Father's Day approaches this coming Sunday. Can you believe it? June 20th, we celebrate the Day of the Fathers. And in Italian, it's Buona Festa del Papa. Isn't that wonderful? Buona Festa del Papa a tutti. Happy Father's Day to everybody, because oh, my papa, to me he was so wonderful. And I know I talk a lot about my mom, but on Father's Day, I'd like to just share a couple things that I have always been grateful for from my dad. My dad was the only one in his family born here in the United States. His two siblings were born in Italy, in Calabria, in a place called Siderna Marina. And when they came over on the boat, his siblings, my grandmother, who was about 48 at the time, got pregnant with my dad, and here in the United States, and John Joseph Fragomeni was born on the 4th of October, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, the 4th of October in 1921. And so my dad was very, very proud to have been born in the United States. My mother, as you know, was born in Italy, and she came over on the boat learning to chew gum so that she could manage the seasickness. My dad was a product of the public school system, which eventually is where I went because they sent my brothers to Catholic school, but my dad wanted me to go to his alma mater, his public school, because they did not want me to be a priest. They wanted me to be a lawyer instead, because then I could bill $400 an hour and all of that. The fact is that my dad was indeed a wonderful man. He worked for the General Electric Company all his life. He was an electrical engineer. He worked as a part of a project, the Knowles Atomic Power Laboratory. It was a subsidiary of GE. And so my dad worked there, and he worked regularly. And I remember three things that I'd like to share on Father's Day to honor my dad and to honor all the fathers that are listening, or all the fathers who will be honored here at the shrine at our masses with a special blessing for Father's Day. The first thing, as I remember, is that my father woke up really early in the morning to go to work at the GE. Really, really early. And in the winter, it was dark. But I had to wake up early as well because I played the organ at our church for the early Mass, the 7:30 Mass, and the 8:15 Mass. And I remember my dad, when I came downstairs, he was eating breakfast, drinking his coffee, and he had just finished showering and shaving. And before he left, he put on some aftershave lotion. And every morning that I remember him kissing me goodbye with this aftershave lotion fresh on his face. And the aftershave lotion was Aqua Velva. I remember this, it was a blue aftershave lotion that my dad used, but the fragrance of that aftershave lotion, the fragrance was amazing. And I could remember that after he kissed me to say goodbye, and then I went to church to play the organ, that fragrance of my dad lingered, and I could smell my dad's fragrance for hours afterwards. People probably thought I had shaved, but I was only a little kid by then because I had this aftershave Aqua Velva fragrance on. And I remember that so that every time I smell Aqua Velva, in fact, I remember when I was ordained a priest, and shortly after my father died, both times, there were people in the congregation that smelled of Aqua Velva. And so in order for me to be close to my dad, I remember purposely going down to give the kiss of peace be with you, to these two gentlemen who were Aqua Velva men like my dad was. Because fragrance is a very important thing. Fragrance is a wonderful way of remembering. And so whenever I smell Aqua Velva, John Fragomeni is right here. And I remember my dad and the care with which he cared for us, his family, his children, his wife, at our home in Schenectady, New York. The second thing I remember about my dad, and certainly on Father's Day, is the memory of what he would always say when something didn't work. If something wasn't working, the toaster or the TV set, we didn't have computers in those days, but if something wasn't working, the fan, the electric fan that was in our living room, if something didn't work, his first response was, "Have you checked to see that it's been plugged in?" That was his response. And 9 times out of 10, that was the problem. It just wasn't plugged in. And so I remember my dad, when things are not working, electrical things at my house, at my apartment there, I remember and I check to see if it's been plugged in or if the fuse switch is broken, because that was the other thing. Have you checked to see if the fuse is off? And so I check all that 9 times out of 10, certainly. That's the problem. But I think about my dad too when things in my life doesn't work. When things don't work in my life, something's fallen apart. And I ask myself, am I plugged in to the source? Am I plugged into God? Am I plugged into the Holy Spirit, to Christ? Am I plugged in, or has I been unplugged from God because of worries or cares? Have I been unplugged? And 9 times out of 10, it's because somehow I'm not plugged in. And maybe that's a good lesson for all of us to learn from John Fragomeni. And then the third thing I remember on Father's Day about my dad, and that I will certainly celebrate long after he's gone, is he was an amateur photographer. Well, not really amateur, actually. He was actually a professional photographer, because he did weddings and funerals and communions. He did everything. He did, and he had a dark room in our basement, and he produced some beautiful black and white photographs, which I still have many of. And this was way he made some extra money making wedding albums. And he took pictures of everything. I mean, we have boxes of pictures from my dad. And one time I asked Dad, "Why are you taking so many pictures?" And he says, "Because it's all memories. Soon everything will be a memory. And so if you take a picture, you can remember. Because memories are what make life beautiful," he used to say. And these are beautiful memories, and they still are. And I remember my dad and all those photographs, and I remember that wonderful line, "Memories are what make life beautiful." And certainly we do this here at the altar. We say, "Do this in memory of me." And so we make some memories during these Mercoledi Moments. We make some memories of all of these wonderful times that we've been together. And I hope that this Father's Day, you make some memories with your dad, if they're still alive, or your grandfathers. Or maybe you keep some pictures out of your dad and your mom, and you remember and cherish the memories. Because really, my father was really right. In the end, it's all memories that we have. Because memories, like that song say, the song says, "Memories light the darkness of my heart." Memories. And so, happy memories, happy Father's Day, happy Acrovelva, and make sure to keep being plugged into God our Father on this Father's Day. The Father who makes all things possible and fills our hearts with such joy. Happy Father's Day. Oh, my papa, to me he was so wonderful.